City Heritage staff, particularly to Jerry McHugh and Yardley McNeil. Thanks also to Heritage Vancouver, who championed the cause, and to the Vancouver Heritage Commission, who continue to advise council throughout the very long process, about 18 months. Thanks to the many people who wrote letters and made presentations to council in eloquent defense of this modest building of Arthur Erickson. Working together, we saved the Evergreen Building from demolition, designated and restored it, and in Arthur Erickson's lifetime. And it will not be the last. Since a half-century is roughly half our history, our mid-century architectural and cultural forms are of critical importance to our sense of time and place, of change and continuity, and to the shape of the future. And the present is precisely the time to turn our attention to the evaluation and conservation of the modern period for future generations. This modern period where we find so much ingenuity, a discovery and celebration of place, a rediscovery of the contributions of our First Nations peoples and of diverse immigrant groups, a West Coast sensibility dependent on, as Arthur would say, native and natural materials, climate, light, topography, context, and what he called the common ground. For me, heritage is about the future. It means looking forward from a present informed by the past. As the founding director of the Arthur Erickson Conservancy, I am dedicated to the preservation of the Erickson legacy. Tonight, in chiffon armor. There are only a handful of buildings by Vancouver native and global artist-architect Arthur Erickson in our city. I believe that generations after us will want to see the built legacy of Arthur Erickson in Vancouver intact, and that it is incumbent upon us, here and now, to see that done, that it is our responsibility as citizens and stewards of our city. Which brings me to the provincial courthouse complex known as Robson Square. A masterwork of design over 3 blocks, an urban park, and an oasis in our city. Like all Erickson works, Robson Square is a cultural and philosophical expression of who we are, deeply rooted in landscape and a profound sense of place and meaning. The old Edwardian courthouse represented a certain prestige and dignity lent by imperial and colonial models of justice, and their more hierarchical relationship to the people. Arthur's courthouse, however, boldly reflects contemporary ideas of both dignity and jurisprudence in a young democratic society in British Columbia. Ideas of transparency, openness to the street and to the public. That is why he turned a proposed 55-story tower on its side and designed the enormous sloping glass roof of the Great Hall of the Law Courts. Not because he was interested in sloping glass roofs, but to express these very values of transparency and openness. I think of Robson Square as a balance, with justice at one end and art now wearing, as Arthur put it, its old Grecian robes at the other, all linked by a 3-block pedestrian spine in a lushly landscaped urban park with areas both public and intimate. But this masterwork of integrated design, building, and landscape is subject to revision and adaptation. Both major interventions and the more insidious incremental erosions of its integrity. Currently, Robson Square has no formal heritage protection. Council has indicated its support for conserving the values of Robson Square as a modern landmark in our city. Let us move forward. Tonight, I publicly nominate Robson Square to the Vancouver Heritage Register as a first step in its provincial and national designation. I call upon all the assembled, including Mayor and Council, to help accomplish this goal. Thank you.